Floyd Mayweather was out again last weekend in yet another exhibition fight against British YouTuber Deji. However, the fight was stopped in the 6th round, much to the dismay of Deji and his team, as Floyd had him pinned in the corner. But that hasn't stopped Deji from claiming the stoppage was early. Today, we're discussing the stoppage, as well as some of Floyd Mayweather's toughest fights over the course of his career. Stay tuned. Let's get straight into it and discuss the Deji Olatunji stoppage. Somebody is going to get seriously hurt one of these days, as the referee stopped YouTuber Deji from further punishment against the best boxer in history this weekend. Some analysts suggested that one day, someone is going to get hurt for real if these freak show fights are allowed to continue. The stoppage came in the 6th round, as Floyd was unloading on Deji, who was backed into the corner offering nothing in the way of offense. The referee was correct to call a stop to proceedings, but that simply prompted Olatunji to claim that the referee intervened too early. The YouTuber had offered precious little in the fight, bar one punch in the 5th which landed clean, prompting the social media personality to take to Twitter after the fight to claim, "I gave Floyd a black eye." However, he did precious little else. Mayweather showed off his old skills during the exhibition as he maneuvered his way around the ring, leaving Deji punching thin air most of the time. Mayweather was fully in control, showing the flashes of speed and power he had become synonymous with throughout his career, and Deji simply had no answer. In the end, the referee had no choice but to stop the fight after multiple body shots from the legendary Michigan fighter went unanswered. What did you guys make of Floyd's latest outing? Give us your thoughts below. So what exactly was Deji complaining about? Well, it's hard to tell, to be blatantly honest. He was clearly losing the fight, and the referee would have come in for some strong criticism had he let Floyd keep up with his onslaught. The YouTuber's protestations are clearly just posturing, as he cannot suggest he had any chance of winning that fight, while simultaneously keeping a straight face. Mayweather revealed he was glad that Deji landed a good shot, adding that it's about entertainment at the end of the day. But the British fighter went the other way and proudly exclaimed how tough he was. He obviously has no awareness of just how cringeworthy he sounds. He did go on to thank friends and family before calling out people like Justin Bieber and Liam Payne, just to add to the growing list of fights nobody wants to see. It's a sad state of affairs that people are actually paying to see one of the greatest to ever box take on these people who a large portion of the population have never heard of. One of the brighter moments from the evening's proceedings took place before Floyd even entered the ring, however, as Tommy Fury was heckled by Jake Paul from ringside. These two have been at each other's throats for some time now, and Paul's detractors are only going to be silenced when he finally dares to get into the ring with an actual boxer. Next, we're looking at some of the toughest tests of Floyd's career, starting with Luis Castillo. Floyd took to the ring against Mexican champion Castillo back in April 2002, which was more than 20 years ago, to challenge him for his WBC lightweight title. Also on the line was the vacant The Ring lightweight belt in what promised to be a close encounter. As it turns out, the fight proved to be one of the toughest of Floyd's career up to that point, as the wily Castillo battled through every exchange. Mayweather started stronger, but as the fight progressed, the lightweight champ came into it, arguably dominating the latter rounds of the fight. The young Mayweather was certainly on the back foot as the bell signaled the end of 12 rounds, but the fight on the whole had been a gripping back and forth. As the scores were read out and it was revealed Mayweather had been awarded a unanimous decision win, there was considerable consternation in the MGM Grand Arena, as plenty of people had Castillo down as the winner, and considering the fact that an instant rematch was ordered just 8 months later, it's safe to say the powers that be thought it was a razor-sharp decision as well. Floyd would go on to get the job done once again in the rematch, and establish himself as the best lightweight on the planet. Who do you guys think won the first fight? We're talking Marcos Maidana next. Stick around. Maidana wasn't supposed to give the mercurial Mayweather as many problems as he did during their May 2014 fight, having already been beaten by the likes of Amir Khan, Andreas Kotelnik, and Devin Alexander. But styles make fights, as they say, and Floyd didn't seem comfortable with Maidana's aggressive style from the start. The Argentinian made life hard for Money, who wasn't getting any younger at 37 years old, and had Mayweather backed up against the ropes on various occasions throughout the 12 rounds. He also landed a succession of overhand rights, which on a different night against another opponent would have ended the fight there and then. Mayweather's work in the earlier rounds were what ultimately swayed the judges, however, as he made the better impression by landing his trademark counter punches and being difficult to hit. Of course, his legendary shoulder roll would also come into play later as the Maidana onslaught began in earnest. Floyd would also manage to edge out the plucky Maidana in a majority decision win, which would go down as one of the closest decisions of his career, closer even than the Castillo win. And just like Castillo, a rematch was immediately ordered, which Floyd was able to dominate after the wake-up call he had received in the first fight with Marcos. Who do you guys think won the first bout between the pair? Give us your thoughts below. Next up, it's Emanuel Augustus. As Floyd stepped up his caliber of opponent around the turn of the century, he would defend the WBC featherweight title he won against Genaro Hernandez 5 times. In his next fight, he would take on the uber-tough Augustus, who was widely regarded as one of the best fighters to ever enter the ring, but with a serious lack of dedication. Not that you would get that vibe from him looking at the 38, 34, and 6 record he finished his career with, but he was highly regarded nonetheless. It's thought that a lot of those losses were fights in which Augustus had come into the bout with little to no preparation, simply relying on his awkward style. However, the Mayweather fight was different. He was ready for war. His style suited a fight with the young Mayweather, who had never really been in against someone like him, and Floyd had to seriously dig deep to get the TKO win in the 9th round. More than a decade after the fight, Floyd would claim that Emanuel was his toughest fight in the ring to date.
Emanuel Augustus was my toughest opponent thus far, and his record didn't show his skill set, but the guy was unbelievable.
Adding, at that particular time, that was my longest layoff. I was a fighter who was active and fighting every 3 or 4 months. I took 9 months off and fought a guy who was active, and he made me bite down. It was a great night. Augustus would go on to fight Mickey Ward in an absolute barn burner in their 2001 Fight of the Year, but wouldn't retire for another decade. Do you remember this one? And finally, the toughest fight of Floyd's career would come against Miguel Cotto. Cotto was one of the scariest welterweights on the planet during the early to mid-2000s and seemed to be starching everybody. After losing to the morally bankrupt Antonio Margarito and Manny Pacquiao in 2008 and 2009 respectively, the Puerto Rican would come up against Mayweather in 2012 after avenging the Margarito loss. Mayweather, who made a career out of dodging and rolling punches, was caught out by Cotto more times than anyone had ever caught him before and was forced to absorb some big shots. Cotto utilized his jab superbly against the legendary fighter and even had him bloody.
Because he's constantly getting belted. Just too good. And let's say that comes in, then Mayweather hits him like he's hit.
But Floyd, being the master tactician he is, was able to figure out the Cotto-shaped puzzle in front of him and bag a unanimous decision win.
So now you didn't hear me, Daz. He needs to come with the uppercut now. Where's he hiding that? Instead, Floyd Mayweather does. With 2, 3 uppercuts, only one gets through. Everything he's doing. I mean, it's not just...
Quick uppercut there in the right hand. And Cotto has no answer for this. When Mayweather's outside, he is untouchable.
Miguel Cotto, as he's been able to do a drill. Right hand, followed by the left uppercut. Again the uppercut.
While not the closest fight of his career, it was certainly his hardest, which he could admit to himself shortly after, saying, Emanuel Augustus was tough, Miguel Cotto was tougher. Miguel Cotto was the toughest fighter that I've faced thus far. What Miguel Cotto did was try to come on strong in the later rounds, which made me fight harder. How long do you guys think you would last in there with Floyd? Give us your thoughts below. As always, thanks for dropping in today, and remember to swing by again next time for some more. And why not do us a solid by liking and sharing today's video, while also subscribing to our channel so you don't miss out on more great bits in the future.